And then we're going to stream here in a moment on Zoom to Facebook. Okay, all right, everyone, fantastic. We are masterminding with Neil Schwartz, another episode here today, and our special guest is Silvia Morris, has joined us from Canada. Welcome, Silvia.
Thank you so much, Neil.
All right, glad to have you. In fact, Silvia's actually, you've been here just about every day with us prospecting and role-playing since the 1st of January. Is that my dates correct?
Not quite that long, maybe about 3 weeks now.
Okay, well, good. We're thrilled to have you. Is that working for you? Is that a good environment for you?
You know, I'm really enjoying it. And my dear friend, Miss Montreal, invited me because there were 3 of us prospecting together every day. And Matab said to me one day, why don't you just come and join Neil's? And I said, I don't really know about it. Anyway, so I came one day, and I like the fact that there's so many people around. I feel like I'm at prospecting school.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. It gives you an opportunity, and then you get to be on the open mic and kind of share and listen to other agents. And we're thrilled to have you. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Great. Thank you so much.
Good job. Excellent. So Silvia, I'd like to start off with just maybe a little bit of Reader's Digest of your history in the real estate business and kind of how you got started, maybe a little in between, and where you are today.
Okay. So first of all, before I even get started, Neil, I would just like to say thank you very much to you for inviting me here. I'm honored to speak to all of you. And it's amazing. Every time I come on this call, I think how lucky all of you are that belong to Neil's office, that he takes the time every day to come here and help you guys make more money and be better realtors. I think it's amazing. And if there's anything I ever wanted more than what I've got right now, it's always been a Mike Ferry office. But we don't have any here in Toronto. You know, and of course, Neil, you're always at the retreats. I always see you sitting in the same seat. And when I've been listening to Mike for 27 years, and I remember the first time I ever said hello to him, and I told him I was from Century 21. He said, "There's the guy you got to talk to right there," and it was you. And that was 27 years ago.
Wow!
So I'm happy to be here, and thank you very much for having
me. Thank you, and I appreciate the compliments, and you have another 47 minutes to go. Keep it up.
So, like I say, I've been selling real estate for 34 years, and I've been following Mike Ferry for 27. And before I was a realtor, I was a banker. I worked in a bank, the most boring job I've ever had in my entire world, in my life, I should say. And my job was at the side counter helping people. Well, I love to move a lot. My husband and I, we were always moving for some reason. And I was always crazy about real estate, but I never did it. So one day my manager, he'd always be walking by, and he came up to me one day and he said, "Silvia, you know what you'd be really good at?" And I said, "Oh, what's that?" And he said, "Real estate. That's all I ever hear you talking about." I figured I was getting fired. I wasn't. He was making a comment. However, I had 2 weeks left vacation, and I decided, maybe I'll take the course, which I did. And of course, the rest is history. And one day I was at a Century 21 convention somewhere in the US. I can't remember now. And a realtor came up to me and he said to me, "You know who you should follow? You should follow Mike Ferry." I'd never heard of Mike Ferry, of course. So he handed me a disc and he said, "Listen to it." And I did, and I was blown away by it. I decided the next time I came to Toronto, I was there, of course, and I've been following him ever since.
Fantastic. It's a long time. So when you started in the business, how did you get your business? And doing business in Canada is slightly different than the United States in terms of what we're allowed to do and not allowed to do, correct?
It is different, yes. We
Yeah.
don't do closings. Once we sell it, it's conditional on financing for 5 days. After 5 days, it is now firm. The deal is firm. But I know it's
and so when you say firm, that means that as far as you're concerned, it's closing on whatever date it's supposed to close.
Done. It's finished. It's done. Next. I'm on to the next.
So you don't have to go through the month or 2 or 3 to figure out if it's going to close or not.
No, I don't.
You don't have the fallout in escrows that we tend to do. You know, the buyer backs out at the 24th day of a 30-day escrow.
Not very often, Neil.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, in terms of properties that or prospecting you can do, are you limited there?
No.
in compared to the United States?
No, not really limited. We can do, you know, we're not allowed to call expiries.
Okay. That's kind of what I was referring to.
Yeah. So
okay.
I don't because my broker told me not to. So I do what he tells me.
Got it. Okay. Did everybody hear that? Okay, we are done with the seminar.
I heard it.
Good job, Silvia. I love that. Okay, so you're not allowed to call expireds, but you can call past clients, sphere, just listed, just sold. How about for sale by owners?
Oh yes, we can call them. We don't have very many here at the moment. We've got a shortage of listings.
Okay, all right. Well, it's very similar to what we're dealing with here in the United States.
Exactly.
Got it. So where did your business come from in the beginning? How did you get started? You were a banker. You had a lot of people that you knew. What was it?
I didn't really know a lot of people when I first went into the business, but when I did go into the business, I had just got divorced. So I had 2 boys that had to go through university and I really had to work hard. I was a single mom. And I went up to the top agent in my office and I said to her, how do I become successful like you? I really need to know that. And on top of that, she was my realtor before I went into real estate. And she's told me, knock, walk, and talk. That's all you have to do. Knock, walk, and talk. And I started. I door knocked every day. I door knocked every afternoon. I was out there, no matter what the weather was like, I was door knocking, doing my job. And we happened to both have the same name, and they'd say, "Oh, you know, you're Silvia Morris." I said, "Yeah, I'm the new kid on the block." So I worked really hard, and I built up my business with the door knocking. It was very important for me to meet people and talk to people, and that's all I knew. What real estate was about was knock, walk, and talk.
Okay, so no phone calls at that particular time to speak of?
Not really. My broker at that time said, get on the phone, tell all your friends you're in real estate, get their phone numbers, get their addresses, everywhere you go, have your name badge, have cards on you. You go to a restaurant, leave your card there. And I did all that.
Okay, good. And so your first year or 2 in business, how many transactions?
I think if I can believe, the first year I did about 7 or 8 deals, transactions. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I did very well in my first year. And at that time I had a great broker as well. And I got an invitation. He took us away on a trip because I was brand new, and a whole lot of us had joined in 1988. Mm-hmm. And they took us away for a vacation. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
For a week. It was fabulous.
So what was the commission splits at that particular time for a real estate agent?
I believe it was 50-50.
Uh-huh. I'll take you away for anybody I'll take away for a trip on a 50-50 split. I just want everybody to know that. Everybody.
50-50.
Wow, pretty amazing, pretty amazing. So you were a single mom, you were on a 50-50 split, you were door knocking and trying to pick up business. You did 7 or 8 deals. How much money did you make?
Oh gosh, not much.
Guesstimate.
And then I was working at nights. I'd always been in an office and so forth. And I was working at nights, pouring coffee in a restaurant across the street from my office to make extra money. Because my cell phone at that time was like $3,000, one of those great big cell phones. So I needed money to buy a cell phone and I didn't have it.
Got it. Okay. So, but did this real estate company provide you with phones to call from?
Yes.
During the day?
Yes, I was in a room with 10 other agents and we all had our little cubicles.
Got it. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So that's the first year. What happened the second and third year?
Yeah, the second and third year, I think I believe I was up to about 30 deals.
So wait a sec. You went from 7 transactions the first year to 30 transactions the third year?
Yes, because I learned how to door knock.
So when you say you learned how to door knock, tell me about that.
Well, I would go out every afternoon knocking on doors. Every Friday night, I would go out knocking on doors. I would go out sometimes on a Saturday. And I became very popular. I can recall one street in the first 5 years, I think I had about 20 listings on the same street.
Wow.
Door knocking, I mean, in the whole year.
Right.
Door knocking really worked for me.
Got it. So go ahead.
Then I got to the point where people knew me and I would have to spend so much time at the door that I wasn't really doing as many doors as I wanted to. And then I met Mike Ferry and then I started calling and it was faster. It's faster to call than door knock. Right.
You brought the same work ethic into the calling that you did into the doors.
I did.
So did you keep the same number of calls or did you increase it?
No, I increased it once I started on the phones.
Got it. Okay. And you kept that up so what was your best year in terms of number of deals or closed commission, Silvia?
You mean like from when I started?
Yeah.
Well, last year was kind of a different year because I did less deals and I made more money. And last year I did 91 deals and that gave me $1,584,000 in gross closed commissions. That was
fantastic.
Yeah, but I usually do normally I do 100 to 125 deals.
Okay.
Some years.
Now, do you do that as an individual? Do you do that as a team? How does that work for you?
I have a team. I have actually one full-time buyer agent and I have a part-time buyer agent at the moment. I did have 3 prior to COVID, but once COVID came, everybody started working from home and nobody was coming into the office. So they left. They left my team, and then this one girl is still with me, and I also have another person, and I have an assistant. I have a mortgage broker, and I also have a runner, someone who picks up checks, puts on sold signs, delivers feature sheets, and all that kind of stuff. All I basically do is list and sell. That's my job.
How many listings did you take that year?
Last year, I took 97 listings. 7 expired or whatever, canceled or whatever.
Right. Okay. And so 91 of them sold?
Yes.
Got it. So on the buying, so you're talking about your 91, so it doesn't include your buyer's agents?
Well, I normally have always done probably 90% of the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So let me ask you something. Do you work 24/7? How does that work for you?
No, I don't work 24/7. I do work a lot because that's all I ever really knew was to work hard in my life. So when I came into real estate, I came from Ireland, and my parents were always hard workers, and they always told me you got to work hard if you want to make any money. So I always have worked hard. However, I work Monday to Friday. I'm usually I have a schedule. I'm up quite early, and I have a schedule, and I'm in the office. You know, the latest I might go home, I've changed my schedule a little bit. The latest I might go home now might be 8 o'clock, but I would go home about 7. But there's times I would be at the office. If I couldn't get people during the day, I'd be calling them at night. And then I'd like to go in and get myself organized for the next, and then I'd like to stay and get myself organized for the next day. So when I come in, I'm all ready to start prospecting again.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's like I know my job is if I don't prospect every day, I won't reach my goals. And I have daily goals and monthly goals and yearly goals that I have to reach every day if I want to reach that yearly goal.
So let's talk for just a moment about what you just said. You know that if you don't do the work, meaning go and look for new business or follow up on old business, you know you're not going to hit your goals.
Of course I won't.
Where did you, well, you say of course, okay? And I'm not challenging you. It's kind of interesting because a lot of people don't get that. Now, the agents that we interview seem to get it, but why did you get it? And maybe others aren't getting it, which might help people right here, right now, if we could get into your head just for a minute. Why do you know that?
Well,
how do you know that?
It's really, okay, this is how I think. Mentally, I think if I don't do my job every day, before I was a realtor, if I didn't do my job every day, I'd get fired. So I know to do my job every day as a realtor. And mentally, if I don't do my job, in my brain, I think I will not reach my goals. And oddly enough, when I prospect every day, I do reach my goals because that's what I do every day. I don't know anything else but prospecting. Sometimes I prospect all day. I've been on your calls like 5 o'clock, about 6 o'clock my time. I've been on some of your calls because I didn't have appointments and I just stayed on the calls to keep prospecting.
Right. Now I've seen you there. Absolutely. So what is it now? Is the goal the money goal or what the money will do for you? How's that work for you?
Okay. Well, I'm like Mike Ferry. I learned from Mike Ferry, it's all about the money. And he says, Mike always says, you know, you can, and it doesn't matter what color you wear, money matches it. Mike Ferry used to say that for years. And of course, I follow Mike 100%. And the money is nice. It's very nice. But it's also the things I have with it and things I can buy with money.
Okay.
You know, that's how I think. It's the money goal. Yeah, I like money.
So as a single mom, you were kind of out there by yourself and you needed to make a certain amount of money to pay for certain colleges and those kinds of things for the family and for yourself. So those all kind of were dangling out there that you needed to do. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. I had to work. I had 2 boys, 2 beautiful boys, and they needed to go to college, you know, go to university, and I was there.
Okay. Excellent. When you came from Ireland, how old were you?
I was 12.
So you weren't an infant, but you weren't grown. So you went to college here?
Yes, I went to school here. Yeah.
Went to school here. Got it. Okay.
It was very hard because I had to leave all my friends at 12 years old. My dad just came home one day and he said, "We're going to Canada." And we said, "What?" First to go, I was 12. Mind you, it's the best thing ever happened to us. But it was hard leaving all your friends and your cousins and
very difficult
behind.
Yeah. Well, good. Doesn't seem like it's worth any worse for the wear. You're doing terrific.
That's right.
Yeah. You always have a smile on your face.
Oh, thank you, Neil. That's very nice of you to say.
So where does that come from? That's an attitude. Where does that come from? Doesn't sound like you had, that easy a childhood where you were pulled from one home, one continent to another continent.
I had a wonderful mom and dad, Irish and religious, and I really had a nice upbringing.
Uh-huh.
Didn't have a lot of money, but I had a nice upbringing. And I'm very happy for what I've got. I'm very happy. I love what I do every day. I'm so fortunate that I love what I do. I love going to work. I can't say that when I worked at a bank, I didn't really enjoy going to work. I had to go to work, but I love going to work every day. I love talking to people. I think and I talk to so many different people and I meet so many different people. It's such an interesting job that it makes me very happy. And I love the fact I have all my colleagues from Mike Ferry. I have Mike and Sabrina on my team. I've got all you guys now, all my California friends that I've just met. So to me, I really enjoy my job, and that makes that makes me very happy every day that I can do this job.
That's great. Fantastic. So when you started in the business, you really didn't have a track of what to say and how to say it, correct?
No, I didn't know what to say, no.
Right. So how did that change, or did it change when you met Mike? And was it going from that help you go from 30 deals to 90 deals? Is that what was the transition?
All right. Well, when I first met Mike, I, like everybody else, was at the back of the room. And always at the back. I couldn't afford to sit at the front. It cost more money to sit at the front. And I was always at the back. And I just loved everything I heard. The minute I met Mike Ferry, I was like, I couldn't believe. I just want to be like that person on stage. I want to be on stage one day. That was my goal. And of course, I kept moving up closer and closer and closer to the front. And then when I got and at that time, there was 3-2 coaching. There was 3 of us on a coaching call. There was never, one-on-one or anything like that. But I always listened to what my coaches were telling me. If I want to be really, and Mike always said, if you want to make money in this business, you have to learn how to talk to people. You have to prospect. You have to have a schedule. You got to have skills, you got to have all these things, you have to have a mindset. You have to have so I wanted to be all that. I wanted to be everything Mike Ferry talked about. And I worked on it really hard. And I listened to Mike every day. I always have. I practice my scripts.
So when you say you work really hard, I mean, you say you practice your scripts. So what does that look like? I mean, is it a few minutes a day by yourself? Is it with a role play partner? Is it, 5 days a week? Is it memorizing the scripts? Describe what you're talking about, Silvia.
All right. So to me, the most important script is the listing presentation, number 1. And I practice it on my own, usually once a day, whether it's the morning or night, is the listing presentation. And I practice it a lot. And I try to memorize it. And I've memorized it and I've written it. I've done everything. And all of my other scripts, they're usually a half hour. I practice for a half an hour, 3 to 4 times a week. The other morning, I'm doing a workbook called Think and Grow Rich. I'm learning that. I do that as well. So I'm always doing something. I'm always learning. And I learned that from Mike Ferry. Keep learning. It's a lifelong thing. We must keep learning.
Got it. Excellent. Okay. Good stuff. So the most important script is the listing presentation script, because when you know what to say and how to say it at a really high level, then you're excited about prospecting, correct?
Exactly.
And the end to a great presentation is a natural close.
That's right. And Neil, another thing Mike has always taught me, when I've been on stage, he'd always say to me, tell me say one thing that's good for everybody out there that are brand new in the business. And I always treat the business like it's a real job. Like, come to work every day, do your job. You know, that's what you need to do if you want to be a successful realtor. Just do your job every day. It's simple. Just talk to people. Get appointments, get sales, and you'll be successful. It's so simple. It's so simple, but you have to listen to what, Mike and your broker.
It's simple to Silvia, clearly. And you started with it basically day one, 7 transactions. Next year, 20, 30 or 30, it said growing, you clearly make it sound simple, but Silvia, you're a great salesperson. Help me help them. Okay. What can we say to this great group that are listening to us? There's 70, 80 people on the call right now. I don't know how many is on Facebook. To get them to hear that it's really a simple job when you get up and do your job every day. Can we say to them?
Okay, well, it starts the night before. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, for me, it has to start the night before.
Okay.
I like to go to bed early. I like to be focused. I like to be committed to what I'm doing every day. And I do stick to a schedule. And I'm usually up around 6. I'm on, we have a mastermind group at 8 o'clock. I practice my script 7:30 to 8. By that time, I'm at 8:30. I'm usually on my way to the office. I've been showered. I've worked out. I work out every day, which keeps me sharp, which keeps me committed to what I have to do every day as a realtor. And I think that's really important. So the first thing I think of when I come in is my prospecting. I have to do my prospecting. If I don't do that, I actually feel guilty. If I don't prospect, I feel very guilty the rest of the day, because I feel like I don't deserve to reach my goal at the end of this month. My coach, she tells me how many deals I have to do every month, how many days I have to work, how many contacts I have to make, how many listings I have to take. And I have to do this.
Right.
That's listening to my coach.
I love it. Fantastic. Silvia, what's your superpower?
I think my superpower is talking. I do like to talk.
Okay.
I ask questions. I've learned from Mike Ferry, the most important thing to make a great salesperson is to ask a lot of questions. I'm constantly asking questions. I find I'm even asking my friends. They say to me, Silvia, stop asking us all these questions. I'm always asking questions because I guess I'm curious. I need to know everything that's going on. And I think that is the biggest secret to being a successful realtor, is asking questions and knowing what to say to people. And that's what we all learn with Mike Ferry, knowing what to say.
Learning the scripts and dialogues.
Yeah.
Silvia, did asking questions come naturally to you, or did you have to work on it in the beginning?
I had to work on it.
Okay. Got it.
I had to work on it. Yeah, nothing really came natural for me.
Did you find that by learning the scripts and dialogues, which are mostly questions, that it helped you to understand asking questions later in the process?
It did. And I also took acting lessons.
Interesting.
To learn how to speak to people and to learn how to ask questions and to learn how to sit properly and to learn how to speak. And I'm also a Toastmaster. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Toastmasters, but I have been a Toastmaster approximately 25 years. When I first started in the business, my broker's wife took me to Toastmasters because I had to get up and talk to people, and that's the last thing I could do I didn't want to speak on stage or talk to anybody. You know, I never did anything like that. So I went to Toastmasters and I became a Toastmaster, and I learned how to speak properly. And the one thing you learn in Toastmasters, which is fantastic, it teaches you how to listen as well. Because you have to evaluate speeches. And I'm still in Toastmasters. I go every Tuesday night. And I speak speeches. And I run it. I learned to be a chair. I learned how to run meetings. So I learned to have a team. Not that I'm a great boss of any kind, but this is the things I learned at Toastmasters, and that helped in my business.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. That's fantastic. Silvia, excuse me, you open to taking a few questions right now?
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Okay, questions for Silvia Morris as we cruise along here. Great information. Either raise your hand or just go ahead and ask away.
Neil.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, Silvia.
Hi there.
Josie Jellick here.
Oh, Josie, hi.
I met you about, I want to say about 10 years ago at a prospecting school in Las Vegas.
Right. I remember
you took Mike Ferry home with you.
I did.
Statue.
I took the cardboard Mike Ferry home. I asked Mike if I could have it.
Yeah.
There used to be a cardboard Mike Ferry at the door of every seminar. And I went up to Mike and said, can I take that home? And I took it home on the plane, and I had it in my office. I still have it. I had it in my office for years. And every morning I walked in, there's Mike Ferry looking at me. I mean, how can you not work? That's the truth. For years and years, I had Mike Ferry in my office.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. I was so impressed when you first started coming to our role plays.
Yes, that's right.
The great Silvia Morris still practices. It was great to see you there. My friends here in Southern California, most of them probably never saw you before.
That's right.
But I've seen you.
Very cool.
We did NLP.
Very cool.
We did NLP.
Oh, that's right. We did NLP together. Yeah, yeah.
Everything I could possibly do to get better.
Right.
Anything to get better. Good. Love that. Great attitude. Thank you. Go ahead, Yasmin. Speak up. Yasmin, unmute yourself. Unmute. You're still not unmuted.
What about
there you
now?
are.
Okay.
Now you are.
Thank you. Sylvie, how do you keep your mindset strong on a daily basis?
Great question.
Great question. All right. Well, listening to Mike Ferry, I have a TV in my boardroom. And I would listen to Mike Ferry, number one. Every time I go to a seminar, I have notes and notes of Mike Ferry. I like to read all of Mike Ferry's stuff, and I have, just to keep my mindset going. But I also have music going in my office. The minute I get in, I have music all day long while I'm prospecting, because I find that really makes me happy and keeps my mindset going and keeps. I just know that at the end of the road, there's a rainbow when my mindset is correct and I know my skills and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do every day. But keeping my mindset, I have a great mindset and I'm very fortunate. And everybody asks me that, how do you keep your mindset going all the time? It's hanging out with people like you guys. It's hanging out with Mike Ferry. It's the wonderful people I do my practice my scripts with. It's the wonderful MFO I can call if I need to talk to somebody. That's what keeps my mindset going, the people I hang out with. And I don't hang out with any negative people either.
And if I may, something I learned from you, and it's keeping my mindset strong, since I started prospecting with you on Zoom, Silvia on her prospecting sheet, every morning before she starts prospecting, she puts her goal of the contacts, but she rewrites all her goals again. It's like right there, it's rewritten again by hand.
Every day.
So
Very cool. Good. Thanks for sharing that, Matab. Good stuff. All right. Thank you, Silvia, for that answer. Tess, go ahead.
First of all, Silvia, thank you so much for being here. It's so exciting to hear from a veteran agent like you. For somebody who is an achiever like you, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Still achieving.
All right.
I love it.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful.
So I want to ask that. I want to follow up on that, Tess, because maybe this is where you're going with it. I'm not sure. I hear from many agents, Silvia, after about 10 or 15 years, and they've used the word grind, okay? And I don't want to have to grind anymore. And when I talk to superstars like yourself, we don't think of it as a grind. We think of it as our jobs. And we, then we take the profits and we go buy apartment buildings or we invest in the stock market, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a job, right, Silvia? I mean, is that kind of, so look, at $1.5 million a year for a number of years, where you're making something like that, even in Canada, you can put enough money away and live a good life. You probably don't have to work and get up every morning and do this. You choose to do this. You're happy to do this, and it's in contribution. So is that where it is for you, or is it, I mean, are you chasing the money?
No.
No.
You
don't have to do that anymore, do you?
No, it's not a grind for me. I really don't have to work, but I love to get up. One thing I can't do, and when COVID started, and COVID never affected me at all, I think I missed one day because my kids told me, Mom, you have to stay home. You can't go to work anymore till this thing. And I didn't listen, and I went to work every day. However, the thing is that it's not a grind for me. I can't work from home. I have to get up, get dressed, work out, do my scripts, get on my mastermind call. It's a ritual I have to do every day. And I like coming to work. It is definitely not a grind for me. I don't even know what you mean by a grind.
Got it. Okay. All right. Good. Very well said. And I hear that from the superstars, and then the agents that don't want to do this. They don't want to do it in the beginning. It's not easy to make a lot of money. It actually takes consistency. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. It's consistent.
I don't know.
Doing the same thing over and over again, right?
Got it. Denise Garcia with your hand up. I love it. Working the program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love the passion that you have in this industry. And I know that a lot of top producers are very passionate, or else, we would probably give up like the rest. But my question is there ever been a time where you just feel so exhausted that sometimes our body tells us to slow down? And if you have, what do you do? Or do you actually give yourself that time to kind of get a refresher?
Okay. Yeah, and that's a great question also. There's times that there are times like that. And if I'm in the office, if, I'm prospecting and nothing is happening and people are giving me a hard time, I'll just stop. I'll walk around the block. I'll come back, and then I'll call a client who I just love, and they love me. They think I walk on water, and I'll talk to them, and they make me feel good. They bring me back to where I should be, and that's basically how I do it. But I think there is times where sometimes I do get tired, very tired, and when I do, I just close up and I go home and I just do something completely different and no real estate. And then the next morning, I'm back to normal again. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Yeah.
Very good question. Thank you. Excellent. Other questions of Silvia? Speak up.
Silvia, what does lead follow-up look like to you?
Lead follow-up?
Yeah. So is it, how often do you call a lead? Do you call them a certain number of times a day? When do you throw the lead away? How do you look at aggressive lead follow-up?
Okay, well, I do keep, okay, so I like to call them, I actually say to myself, I feel sorry for anybody that calls me and asks me questions, because I never leave them alone after that. I'm kind of a pain in that way. My lead follow-up, I'm always calling them. And I only throw them away if they say, Silvia, we're not selling, sorry, we're not going to move for 4 years, I throw it away. But if I get any indication at all that they're going to do something in the next couple of months, and I know Mike doesn't like us to say months, he likes weeks, I keep it. I really do, I keep it. It's hard for me. When I used to go to Mike Ferry events, I have my own office. Mike told me many years ago just to get out of the office and get on my own. And I recall when I had my own, when I was working in the real estate office, at nights, people used to go through my garbage cans looking for leads. Because after I'd go to a Mike Ferry retreat, I would, after listening to Mike, I'd be, oh, I have to get rid of this. I have to get rid of this. And I would be throwing them in my garbage can.
Oh my gosh.
A while ago, yeah. So
yeah.
I don't like to, but I know I can only call them so long because I would drive them crazy. Yeah, I'm kind of a pain in the neck like that.
Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very cool. Okay, other questions for Silvia?
Yeah, this is Tyrone. I got one.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you for being here, Silver. Can I ask you real quick, can you elaborate a little bit more on this Toastmasters? What is that?
Okay, well, it's Toastmasters International. It's all over the world. You would have one right in your town. And they even have meetings at lunchtime as well. I don't do the lunchtime because I don't have lunch. I usually have lunch in my office. And it's all about public speaking. It's learning how to speak better. The reason I got into it, when I first got into the market, I was working on very small little houses, but then all of a sudden things changed, and I was doing $1 million houses, and I was always a little nervous going into these houses in case I said the wrong thing and everything. And I learned how to speak to people. I learned how to, I was able to speak to people that we'll say lived in smaller houses, but when it got into great big houses, I was always a little bit nervous because I wanted the listening so bad. So that's where Toastmasters came in for me. It just taught me how to speak. They watch our ums, they watch our ahs. We have to speak very clearly. We have to speak properly in front of people. And that's what I learned from Toastmasters.
Oh, great. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great organization, Tyrone, for stuff like that. Absolutely. We had Yvette, you had a question. Or not. Yvette, unmute yourself. Okay. Other questions for Silvia? Go ahead, Verd.
Yes, hi. Hi, Silvia. Thank you, Silvia. You're prospecting every day, as you say. You're making your calls. Where do most of your business come from?
60% comes from past clients, because I'm always calling my past clients, 60%. Then when I take a listing, I call it just listed, it just sold. Basically, and of course my center of influences. They're the 4 people that I call all the time. Like I said, I don't call for sale by owners. I don't call expiries. They're the ones that I call.
Thank you.
Excellent. Good stuff. There's a question that Martin had about the daily mastermind. How does that function?
My daily mastermind group?
Correct. Uh-huh.
That's fantastic. That's at 8 o'clock every morning. We have generally about 20 people on it. And then every week, somebody has to run it. And it all has to be Mike Ferry. We can't talk about books we read, or we can't talk about the climate or the whatever, or the weather. It's all Mike Ferry. And we share a topic, and then everybody gets a chance to talk about that topic. We hear their opinion on the topic. It's really wonderful. And then at the end, we all do our our affirmations, and it really gets me going every day too. Yeah, I love
Great.
And,
excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Okay, good stuff. All right, unmute yourselves, please. Unmute yourselves. Silvia Morris, give her a big hand, please.
Woo-hoo! Thank you.
Sylvia.
All right.
Great job.
So, Silvia, what we do right now is we're going to kind of take a little bit of time. You're welcome to stay and listen, or if you have a hard stop, we understand. But we're going to kind of go around the room a little bit, so to speak, and kind of talk about what we learned from you. So thank you again. Abigail, you want to start?
Sure, absolutely. One thing that I did learn is that if I do not do my job every day, then I would get fired. This is the second time that I hear that, and it just I don't know, something clicked. But I'm also finishing reading my book, which is Think and Grow Rich, and something clicked. I was reading a couple of chapters, a day, and I maybe that increased some of the prospecting habits. So. Yeah. Just a point.
Yeah, is that what I see?
Yeah, the Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, so I'm on a call with 4 other people, and we every once a week we do a chapter, and then we
how nice!
That's a fantastic thing that you've got there.
Oh, it's a fantastic book. Something's just clicking. It's taking me longer than what it should, but something's clicking. And the other thing that that's very interesting. It's someone from our office invited me to a Toastmasters class because I get very shy. I hate public speaking. I do have those ums, and I have to work on the way I deliver my message. I don't know why. I can speak with one-on-one or with a family, but with a group, I get very nervous. So I'm going to work on that.
Good stuff. You know what they say, when the student is ready, the fairy will appear.
Yeah, that's true. I could never make fairies in front of 4,000 people if it wasn't for Toastmasters.
Yeah.
I could never do that.
Yeah, that's great.
I couldn't talk in front of 10 people. It's a wonderful organization to help people like us to become better at what we do.
Perfect. Good stuff. All right, what else did we learn today? What else did we learn from Silvia? Speak up or raise your hand. Go ahead, Robert.
Silvia, thank you. Really greatly appreciate it. I love that you come on our Zoom and role play and prospect and participate. So nice to have you on here. What I wrote down, kind of the sum of everything I wrote down with her, is it's so simple. The process is so simple. Like every question you asked, Neil, there was not a complicated answer. And it was not anything super deep or anything. It was, I started out, I went knocking on doors and talking to people, and then they got to know me. And then I got on the phone and I started calling people, and it was just nothing. And it goes back to what Mike says, what you say, what we hear all the time, that this is a simple business. It's just not easy. And she really simplified it and is making a ton of money. So for everyone out there that tries to complicate it, you're losing tons and tons of money by complicating it.
Right.
If you just keep it simple, Silvia's been around for years and is making a ton of money, all just keeping it simple.
It's a great point. Thank you, Robert. Good stuff. All right, Verd, did you have your hand up?
Yes. What stuck with me were 2 things. When she said, when you started and it's knock, walk, and talk, that's what you were doing. You knock, walk, and talk. But one of the last points you made, it takes consistency to make a lot of money. That's what struck with me, the consistency part, because you could make a lot of money, then, the tendency might be to take it a little easy, lay back a bit, but it takes the consistency. That's the part that I got from it.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Okay, other thoughts? Go ahead, Yasmin.
I can say something.
Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Who was that?
Yeah, it was Yasmin.
Oh, Yasmin. Go ahead, sweetie.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sylvia, on the mindset point, I learned that Mike sent us an email this week And then he said, stop taking advice from non-MFO people. And then I said, that was a big aha. I said, yes, because the non-MFO people think that we are crazy. And I don't know what they think about us. But when we hang out with minded people like all of us, then things like normal and we are in the same page. Other people see us like weird and I don't know what they think about us, but they think that we are in another world or something. No, we're doing our job and we focus.
You have no idea how on point you are with that.
Right.
Because every time I get in another crowd, not so much Tom Ferry, but boy, when you get outside into the world of any other name other than Ferry, I'm telling you, it's so much energy because you have a conversation, they're so stuck in their ways. And I just feel like it's like you make it simple, Silvia. You're saying it the way it is. This is like Robert said. And actually, I kind of heard it today when you said it, Robert, for the first time in a long time, that it's not complicated. It's just not easy.
Yeah.
And I really think I got that, Robert. So thank you. I don't know if it was the tonality or whatever it was, but I've heard that as much as anybody else, but I think I really started to get it today. So thanks. Silvia, thank you for opening up all of that. What else did we learn today from Silvia?
I have to say, Neil, and I want to add to what Yasmin was talking about, that you are actually should be hanging around with people, like-minded people. I was prospecting yesterday and I was talking to somebody and they're saying that, oh, you're in that office where that Mike Ferry people that are crazy people. So I'm like, okay, all right. Well, I tell you what, we get the job done, So I think we just have to laugh about it. But here's what I'm hearing from Silvia. What I'm hearing here, the common ground is this. Those people who are achievers like this, you can see that they're hard-working people. It's not an instant gratification. It just takes time, what I'm hearing. And Mike says this, you cannot expect to get it right away, but if you do what you do every day, it's going to come to you.
You're right.
Yeah, you have to take baby steps every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Silvia. Thank you.
Yeah. Baby steps consistently, not giant steps occasionally.
Indeed.
Good stuff. All right. What else did we learn?
Also love what you do. If you love what you do, then it's not a grind.
So important, Matab. Thank you. All right. What else did we learn? And we're going to shut it down because 1 o'clock. Oh, Matab, we're cutting into your time.
Hey, it's Silvia Morris. It's okay.
All right. Good stuff. All right, everybody, unmute yourselves. Unmute yourselves. Thank you, Silvia. Woo!
Thank you, Silvia. Thank you, Silvia. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. You want to hear some great prospecting? Matab, the floor is yours.